right. I can already feel people being all judgy again. Saying there goes Tyra's ass not liking something again. I liked it. Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss Cruella. No, let me say it like Emma Stone. Curella. Yeah. Now this movie is available on Disney. It stars Emma Stone and Emma Thompson. Now what did I think about this movie? Before I get into a lot of things I really like with this movie and a few things I just didn't, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things. You know, if we're going to do a live action Disney villain, just let them be the villain. Cruella is a villain. We don't need to identify with her. We don't need to make her nice. She's evil, right? Guys have hopefully subscribed to see more of me. Let's get into this movie. Now, for one, I did do a trailer reaction for this movie, and I was in no way, shape, or form excited for this movie. I didn't want it. I am so sick of the Disney live action remakes because they are never good, so I didn't expect this to be. But to my surprise, this is a good movie. This is a movie worth watching, but that doesn't mean that there weren't some shortcomings. I do want to start off with a few things that I did really like about this film. I do like that if we're going to go villain, I really wish that we could go dark like we did with the Joker situation. But I know we're not going to get that with Disney. But I do like that they took some risks here. There are a lot of scenes here that are like, oh, this isn't a Disney film. We get a little bit of that, so it's not, just a total waste. I do love that they tried to go darker with this movie, and it shows that they took some risk. And I do also love the director. The director here is Craig Gillespie. Now, he directed the I, Tonya movie. I really enjoyed that. And I like the casting. I like Emma Stone more so for her comedic, Zombieland, Superbad, Easy A-esque roles. I think she shines there more than her dramatic acting. But the main person I was here for was Miss Emma Stone. I absolutely love her and everything she gets to bring on screen. I just knew with her being the villain here that we were going to get, the theatrics. She's so well versed in theater, the whole, Nanny McPhee. Absolutely loved her in this movie. Let me know why, because she was awesome here. I also really like the cinematography of this film. We do have a little too much for my taste as far as CGI being used here for scenery and certain shots, but for the most part, it really puts you in the time period of, the 60s and the 70s era. The film is beautifully shot. And also the costume choices. Whoever was on wardrobe was doing their thing because the movie was gorgeous. Everything was absolutely beautiful here. So now that that's out the way, let's get into this film and some of the things that I maybe didn't like so much. 2 hours and 15 minutes. Why? This movie was long, and I have no problem with long movies. I will sit through a movie. But this one in particular, I felt like it did not need to be this long. This was a very padded movie. Like, we literally start off meeting Cruella, who's now Estella, and she's an infant. And we go from infant all the way on up. And it was like, did we really need? Like, it's just so many scenes here that we just absolutely don't need. But while we're introduced to her character and we get, right into her being a kid and a rebel and her having a sense of having a secondary self as a Cruella, and her mom, who we know is her mom at this point in the movie, wants her to tone it down and, you know, blend in, just be a kid, just fit in. I want you to go to school. I want you to, girl, be normal. And it's like, no, you always see that she always had, you know, that rebel edge, always had a flair for fashion, but so much to the point that she gets expelled from school and her mom is moving, at which she has to stop mid-move and ask a friend for money. Now, at this point, we have not, you know, seen a dad in sight. We get into the plot kind of giving itself away. We don't really see any faces at this point in the movie, but we do know that, you know, dogs were sick. These Dalmatians already, those damn Dalmatians, those damn CG. I'm like, damn, y'all couldn't get no real dogs. They just like, oh, we ain't training no dogs. We just gonna put them dogs in and go. But those damn Dalmatians, we see them attack the mom and she's thrown over a cliff, at which we see her, you know, become a fugitive kid on the run. Like, it was a whole, like, I was like, well, damn, this is a lot for a kid. Like, if this movie doesn't do anything, it like over exhausts all options. Like, hey, that seems a little impossible. Yeah, we're gonna put that in there because it's Disney. But we see, you know, a lot of foreshadowing with, you know, who could have killed her mom. So when we do actually see who it was, it's not really a big surprise. But after her mom is killed by this friend and she's, you know, built it up in her mom that it's her fault because the dogs, the Dalmatians, were chasing her. I kind of even like where that was going. I thought that would kind of build up, you know, the hatred that we know her to have for those Dalmatians and, you know, that whole obsession. But this is not that. If you're going into this movie, do not go into it with any preconceived notions of the Glenn Close Dalmatians. You know, there's a little flair of that and even a little flair of the cartoon, but this is its own individual thing. But after that, we are introduced to what I like to call her henchmen. And here, I really love the two guys that played her, you know, her two side pieces, her right-hand men. But later on, they do some things with these characters that are so questionable. And when her behavior heightens to the point that it's just like, oh my goodness, she's a evil person that we know her to be. Why it didn't explain why they were still there. We get into these same men, you know, growing up with her, taking her in, kind of rescuing her, showing her the trade of her, you know, becoming a thief and like a mask. Like, it was a whole like Mission Impossible type things going on. I'm like, oh, y'all stealing. Okay, this is massive. But after we see them build and go through all those things, when we see her character change towards the end and them still kind of question her a little bit, but still hang on to her and hang on to her every word and obey her, it's just like, okay, well, this is not, you know, what I thought these characters would be from who we were presented with before. But I still love I love both of the guys that they had. The heavyset dude, like, he did really great here. This guy, he did really awesome here with his role, and he was very funny. But after we, you know, pass up her being a kid, a thief, dyeing hair, and being on the run, you know, yeah, we get into, you know, her just being an older thief, dyeing her hair and being on the run, and that just not being enough for her, and her always having a flair for fashion, a flair for design. We had a lot of fun with her, you know, creating disguises. But at that point, when we got into that point of the film, and I think we were on, I don't know, our 15th song, there are so many songs here. Like, I try not to mind narration so much because there is a lot of narration and disposition here to explain to us what's going on rather than showing us. Cool. Here, it seemed like they were trying to use music to not only show us, hey, knock, knock, hey, you guys, we're in the 60s. Hey, we're in the 70s. Like, it was so much music being stuffed down our throat. And I am not one to just not like music in film because I love it. Hey, oh, I know. Kind of not listening, watching what's going on. You're too busy singing. There was a lot of that here. There was every other freaking scene, there was a song. And I mean, not like a little snip, like in a, you know, drift stop. Like, no, they were playing the whole songs. Like, and it was like, oh, we're, you know, feeling evil. Her character trait is changing. Oh, we need a sad song. We need an evil song. We need an evil 60s song, a rockin' 70s. Like, it was so much. I was like, can we just hear them speak, hear them talk, some dialogue? Tell us what's going on. I don't want the Rolling Stones to tell me how you're feeling. But it's at the point that, Estella, not Cruella just yet, really gets her foot in the door. And, she's a part of this, really great, massive fashion house that's ran by Emma Stone's character, who is downright like evil. And getting into her, it was so reminiscent of Glenn Close's 100 Dalmatians, interpretation. It was so good. She was a joy to watch on screen, and she really, was that ugh. But with her being that ugh, I was like, this is giving me Devil Wears Prada. I was one of those kids, like, I love me some Devil Wears Prada, and she was, that owner, that fashion designer. There's so much talk of collections and spring collection, and, people shaking in their boots when they enter the room, like them, being borderline physically and verbally abusive. That Devil Wears Prada, she was that person here. So as I'm watching, I am building with the characters and getting to know, Emma Stone, getting her chance, doing that magnificent, signature window thing, and her getting that job. But once she got the job, I just felt like we were watching Devil Wears Prada. So it kind of took me out of it. I couldn't enjoy it as much because it seemed like something that we had, seen already, with her, continuing to design and her trying to impress her and trying to, going to, kind of, change up her look and all those things. Like, I was like, didn't we get this already? But it was good. Now, with her trying to impress Emma Thompson's character, we start to get into just Cruella's, personality kind of changing. We start off with a nice Cruella, which is okay. She's a baby, she's a child. But once we get into certain points of her finding out, initially what really happened to her mom, and finding out her mom was murdered by Emma Thompson, and then it switches from, I want your admiration, I'm so happy to work here, to I'm going to ruin your damn life the way you ruined mine, and because you killed my mom. And she switches from Estella to Cruella, and Cruella is treated as a character more so than a person. It's not, so much an extension of her right away. It's just, I'm going to pretend to be this person in this disguise so I can, step in and ruin her life and be, ahead and be fashionable and take over. I didn't really enjoy that too much, because it was like, if it's, a character that you can cut on and cut off, then what is Cruella? Cruella is so massive and so evil and just so, like, oh my God, it's just so scary. So for that to just be a persona in the beginning that she was kind of putting on and cutting off just to blend in the crowd, and it took me out of it, because this is one of those Disney villains that I love. Cruella is up there with me, for, Maleficent or Ursula. Like, these characters are evil. Scar, these are these characters. Why are we, giving her time to switch back? It's like they wanted us to identify with her so bad and didn't want to cross the line of this being, a evil Disney movie, that they really scaled back on her character and just tried to make her nice. And we don't need Cruella to be nice. We need, we skinning. I need those puppies. We trying to, hey, who's dog? Yeah, I need all of them. I'm just trying to make this fur. Like, this character is, one of those top villains. So then for them to take this liberty to just make her nice. But in the process of her ruining Emma Thompson's life, a whole Mission Impossible, getting necklaces, Ocean 11s type situations going on, we really get into lots of really great fashionable moments in this movie. Like, those little scenes were so immaculate. Her takeovers, and it's just like, yeah, no, bitch, check out me, check out my outfit. Emma Thompson's character just, loathes anyone like taking her shine. Those moments of her stepping in, with her outfits, those, plots for her to use her henchmen to take over situations, those were some really good scenes. I really enjoyed one particular scene with her making a dress, and it's just, the most beautiful thing that anyone's ever seen. And it turns out to be made of, like these moth type of eggs, and it eats her entire spring collection. those scenes were really great and really juicy. And it seems like we were, taking our time and revving her up to be the evil, conniving Cruella de Vil that we know her to be. But as soon as we got there, it's like they scaled back. Every time we hit the plateau of her being just that nasty Cruella de Vil, it was scaled back. Like if you're nasty, to your two friends who have been here for you all your, your little young life, and you've supported each other, and you're nasty to them and go, well, this is who I am. This is what I have to be. This is blah, blah, blah. And then we take it right back and say, well, no, guys, I love you guys. I'm sorry. I was having a moment. Or we have, a scene where she really figures out, who she is, and she has the dogs, and she's trying to get them to poop out this family heirloom necklace. And she sees her, with the Dalmatian-esque fabric on, and she's made a dress, and she's like, oh my gosh, she's killed my dogs, and she's made a coat. No, she didn't kill anything. She didn't. Or even with when we get, towards maybe, the ending, and one of her henchmen goes, hey, we're not going to kill her, right? You can't kill her. It's not going to, make anything better. And it's like, well, no, I couldn't possibly do that. Like, I won't, not if I, why not? Cruella would take those leaps and make we went really dark with Emma Thompson's character, per se, more so than we would with Cruella. And I don't know if that's a build up to something. I don't know if we're getting, another installment of this film, but we were there. Emma Thompson was Cruella. That, take no nonsense, evil, I'm dropping bodies if I need to. That was her. So to see Cruella not be that in her own film, it was a little like, but I'm guessing we're getting a part 2. Also, with the cast being really well-rounded, we had 2 characters here that just bothered me so much. We have a designer who is over a shop where Cruella goes to, get in her gig, and, he helps her with her plot devices, and, this is what we do, the whole schemes. And he's just so underdeveloped and just there to be a gay fashion designer type of thing. I just want a little bit more from that. And we also have like a gossip columnist reporter type plot who's a photographer, the black friend, that she's known since childhood. She was just there, and they didn't really utilize her at all. She was supposed to be, publishing things in the paper to upstage Emma Thompson to help her friend, Cruella, but it was just, they didn't do anything with her, and it was just like a waste. Now, by the time, because it took really long to get there, we get to the ending of figuring out, that this entire time that Emma Thompson's character has been her mother. So that would explain so much, because I kept watching and I just didn't know where it was going, because I was like, she is so much like this person. They both have a flair for fashion. They both, are a little conniving, a little evil, all these different traits. So that would explain a lot. So that was a nice twist there. But once we got with, Emma Thompson did have my mother killed, you were trying to protect, your assets and not give them to me. So you wanted me to be killed as a baby out of your womb. But I was giving, to the housekeeper. She's taking care of me. She asked you for help. You killed her. You also tried to kill, you had my henchman arrested, and you tried to burn me alive. But when she comes back, and I think that each moment where I thought she was going to blow up and go full on Cruella, we just didn't, and we kept it at, a minimum. But we have, an amazing look, because everything here was a great look of her, setting things up for every, person at the party to be dressed and kind of have the same hair as her. And don't even get me started with that hair and that wig, child. I was just like, oh, okay. But we have that, that whole device going on. And right when I think we are about to just catapult into full-on evil, we don't. And we have this really conniving Emma Thompson character who tried to murder you twice now. Killed your mother. No, actually 3 times. She tried to kill you at birth. She tried to push you over the cliff. And then she tried to burn you alive like this person. But we, take Cruella DeVille, takes the high road and has this whole, oh my God, that whole scene with the parachute and that whole CGI situation. That was just, there was so many like, man, I just wish this movie was darker. There was so much cutesy, bubbly CGI moments here. I'm like, no, I want evil. I want gripping. I want death. But this is Disney, so we weren't getting that here. But we just end with Emma Thompson, being arrested and Cruella DeVille getting all the riches that, were owed to her, and her completely killing off the Estella character herself, faking her death and getting all that inheritance and moving into this, luxurious manor. It's just like, I enjoyed this film. Granted, it did take me a while to watch it because I kept pausing it because it just didn't, it held my interest, but there was so much missing here. Like, it was missing, the stuffing. I wanted Cruella DeVille to be a villain. She's a villain. They spend a lot of time in this movie trying to make us identify with her, sympathize with her, switching her character traits back and forth to, the point that she's Cruella and then she's Estella. And then even when she is full-on Cruella, she's still nice. Since when in the hell, I don't care about the Glenn Close. Well, I do care because Glenn Close adaptation will always be number one. But that's just not in her trait. Like, why couldn't she just be evil? There was a way for Disney to portray her as being evil without, taking away, kind of like what they did with Angelina Jolie in the Maleficent situation. Like, there was not a whole lot of, I do like that we spent a lot of time, showing why Maleficent was the way she was, but she didn't let up. Like, she was Maleficent pretty much all the way through, and when she wasn't and she did, show a softer side, it was warranted. Here, it was absolutely not. We were just going back and forth, and we never got to the point of Cruella. I wanted to see Cruella, Emma Cruella. Well, you guys, that was my review for this movie. As you can see, unlike my normal self, I kept it short and sweet. I didn't really have a lot to share. I'm not a big fan of the Disney live action remake, so I'm not going to revel in this review. I just wanted to give you my thoughts. Do not go into this movie trying to expect Glenn Close, the baby years. No, this movie is its own thing, so you're not going to get that here. Emma Stone did do a great she did do a great job. The accent at times was a bit heavy. It was very Curella. Like, okay, girl, we got it. But that was a little heavy. You do get a couple of tropes like, I don't know who that is. She's wearing a mask now, and she has black and white hair. Like we did that whole charade, and you had knew that whole time that you had tried to kill a whole baby with black and white hair. Your own child, but we wanted to pretend like we didn't know who that was just because she had a little mask on. Like, they were trying to Batman her. They really tried to Batman her this whole movie. Like, that's not her. She's wearing a disguise. She has on a mask. That's not the same girl who's been working for you this whole time. This is a new person. Y'all tried it. But as far as do I think this movie is worth a watch, I do. It's not, totally horrible. I did enjoy it for what it was. But if you guys have seen this movie, please drop down and tell me what you thought about it. Are you feeling some of my same intimates? Or are you, on the other plane? Girl, you tripping. This movie was bomb. I had a good time. Drop down and say that also. But I see you guys next time.